In Mexico, Astrid Longi works as a freelance journalist covering topics related to food and entertainment. There are a number of publications that she has written for, including El Heraldo de Mexico, The Daily DIY Life, and Orgullo Latino. She has more than 4 years of experience in the field. In her current role as a journalist at Things, Astrid focuses on covering news related to the entertainment industry, including television, film, and celebrity news. Astrid attended Universidad Panamericana, where she earned a Bachelor of Philosophy degree as well as a certificate in digital marketing. In 2022, she became a member of Things. From the time it was first broadcast in 2002, American Idol has grown to become one of the most successful and widely watched singing competition series in the history of the world. On this show, a number of famous singers, including Kelly Clarkson, Carrie Underwood, Jennifer Hudson, and Jordan Sparks, were introduced to the public for the first time. On the other hand, American Idol has provided us with a great deal of drama, which is another wonderful thing. Among the most significant controversies that have arisen from the show are the legendary feud between Nicki Minaj and Mariah Carey, Katy Perry's comments that were directed toward a contestant. Additionally, Adam Lambert's defeat to Chris Allen in the 8th season of the series has also been a source of contention. The singer of Ghost Town is still suffering from the loss of American Idol, despite the fact that his career is currently doing better than it ever has before. In a recent interview, Lambert disclosed what he believes to be the true reason why he was eliminated from the competition on American Idol. Lambert, Adam was not of the opinion that he would be a good fit for American Idol. When Lambert made the decision to try out for American Idol in 2008, she did so with the expectation of achieving the same level of success on the show as Kelly Clarkson or Carrie Underwood. While he was under the impression that he lacked the necessary skills to triumph in the competition, I didn't believe that I was the kind of performer that would be able to. As Lambert stated in an interview with Entertainment Weekly, I didn't think I would work on the show. It occurred to me, oh, I'm not the type that they look for, you might say. Additionally, he was anxious about not being selected for the show because he had to give up his job in order to be able to take part in the competition. In spite of this, he quickly became the favorite contestant according to both the audience and the judges. Because of this, everyone was completely taken aback when the winner of the 8th season of American Idol was revealed earlier this week. Fans were taken aback by the 8th season of American Idol. In spite of the fact that she was the favorite of both the audience and the judges, Lambert ended up in 2nd place. Chris Allen, a native of Arkansas, emerged victorious in the competition. Is it possible that Adam Lambert was eliminated from American Idol because he violated one of the show's most important rules? The American Idol competition, like any other competition, has a lengthy list of rules that contestants are required to follow in order to be considered for a spot on the show. Although there are some of these rules that make sense, there are others that are just plain strange. One example of this is the rule that prohibits contestants on American Idol from running for office after they have competed on the show. Contestants on American Idol must be between the ages of 15 and 29 years old, are citizens or permanent residents of the United States, and do not have any pending contracts or record deals. In addition, the producers of the show make it mandatory for all contestants to reveal their criminal histories before the show begins. The violation of these rules is not tolerated. For example, Jermaine Jones, who was a finalist in the 11th season of American Idol, was eliminated from the competition because the producers of the show were unaware that he was expected to face criminal charges in the near future. In a related development, Adam Lambert was fired from his previous record label after the label requested that he create a covers album to which he had no interest. Almost immediately after Adam Lambert's departure from American Idol, it was disclosed that he had already signed a record deal prior to his participation in the show. A year prior to his audition, the singer had collaborated with Colwell Platinum Entertainment to record an album titled Beg for Mercy. He was permitted to compete in the 8th season of American Idol, despite the fact that this appeared to be a violation of one of the most important rules of the show. As a result of his previous recording deal, Lambert did not end up losing to Chris Allen because Adam Lambert is of the opinion that he was eliminated from American Idol due to his sexual orientation. After the 8th-season finale of American Idol was broadcast, the Huffington Post published an article claiming that homophobia was the reason why Chris Allen had won over Adam Lambert. The article had been published shortly after the conclusion of the 8th season. According to the information provided in the article, the audience is more likely to show their support for a singer who comes from a Christian background, such as Allen, as opposed to a man who is openly gay, such as Lambert. In 2009, the singer did not take the time to comment on this article. However, some of his most recent comments demonstrate that he is in agreement with this perspective. With the purpose of promoting his most recent project, the drama Fairyland, which was produced by Sofia Coppola, Lambert was recently interviewed by Variety. During the course of the interview, he was asked if he believes that homophobia is the reason why he did not win American Idol. Probably was his response to this question. However, that was 10 years ago. Following that, he proceeded to explain how his experiences as an openly gay man working in the entertainment industry were relevant to this new project. What's interesting about our movie is that despite the fact that it takes place in the 1970s, it contains a great deal of ideas that are still relevant today. The conservative segment of our nation is once again launching attacks against members of the LGBTQ community. Lambert's career has flourished to the point where it is more powerful than it has ever been, despite the fact that she did not win American Idol. There have been 5 studio albums released by the singer since the year 2009. His debut album, titled For Your Entertainment, achieved a position of 3rd on the Billboard 200 chart in the United States and earned him a nomination for a Grammy in the category of Best Male Pop Vocal Performance. Over the course of his career, he has also participated in a number of tours with the rock band Queen and has also tried his hand acting on multiple occasions. As the final stage was illuminated by the dazzling spotlight, it appeared as though Adam Lambert was about to achieve his goal of winning. His voice was awe-inspiring and his presence was electrifying. However, when the results of the 8th season of American Idol were computed, his rival, Chris Allen, emerged victorious and took home the title of champion. Since then, Lambert has publicly reflected on the why behind his finish, which is not just about votes or performances. Rather, it is a window into culture, expectation, identity, and the unseen edges of fame. The ascent, as well as the crucial moment of truth. In 2009, Adam Lambert made his debut on the American Idol stage, and he introduced himself not only as a contestant, but also as a formidable competitor. He had a theatrical style that exuded rock star charisma, and he possessed a vocal range that very few people dared to attempt on a reality show platform. Despite the fact that nearly 100 million votes were cast during the final round, many people were taken aback by the results. Chris Allen, who is steady, modest, and approachable, was chosen by the audience as the performer of choice rather than Lambert, who brought extravagant showmanship and sensation. Later, Lambert stated that when he first started the competition, he was aware of being the outsider, the flamboyant rocker in a field of more traditional pop voices. He continued to say that he was aware of this fact. In spite of this, he had faith in his artwork. At that time, he did not fully appreciate the fact that the outcome would be influenced by a great number of factors that were beyond his control. 2. He is of the opinion that the true reason is homophobia and identity. The confirmation that his identity and presentation did, in fact, play a role is perhaps the most forthright confession that Lambert has made since then. According to what he said in an interview, the reason he did not win the title was probably because of his homophobia. Although he was not the first person to suggest this, hearing it directly from him lends more credibility to the idea. As he took the stage, he performed as himself, complete with eyeliner, high notes, theatricality, and glam rock pulses. Although many people adored that version of him, it is possible that some members of the voting audience had difficulty connecting with him. In the beginning, the media had already begun to highlight his sexual orientation as well as his performance flair. By this, we are not implying that identity was the only factor. In spite of this, Lambert has accepted the fact that it was a component of the equation, and he has utilized this recognition as a platform for authenticity rather than looking back with regret. 3. The debate, relatability versus creative capability. In the process of analyzing his defeat, Lambert has also acknowledged another aspect. The competition was not always about who could sing the best. Rather, it was about who the audience believed they could vote for. As was mentioned in one retrospective, the competition is for those who are entertainers. The fact that Chris Allen was able to pull off an upset and garner support from the public is impressive. Despite the fact that Lambert's artistry was superior to that of many others, for a competition with a large audience, factors such as relatability, vote mobilization, and genre fit were important. Despite the fact that his rock-leaning style and strong dramatic flair may have been extremely appealing to a large number of people, it is possible that he did not mobilize the broad base of support that was required to surpass a competitor who was more middle of the road. Putting it succinctly, Lambert had the vocal fireworks, but Allen had the image of serving as a safe harbor. Lambert's exceptional performance raised expectations and possibly intimidated some voters who might not have felt aligned with his platform. Some critics argue that Lambert's brilliance made his candidacy vulnerable, in that his exceptional performance raised expectations. 4. The inevitable winner trap and the issue of excessive media hype. Lambert acknowledges that the champion burnout effect is another piece of the puzzle that could be considered. Due to the fact that he repeatedly impressed the judges and commentators throughout the season, many people anticipated that he would emerge victorious. This may have paradoxically led his supporters to become complacent, while the supporters of his challengers became more energized. With the conclusion of one analysis, if your fans believe that they already have the American Idol crown, they will become uninterested in voting for you, which will ultimately result in you losing votes. Although Allen, the under-the-radar competitor, became a vote for the everyman choice, Lambert has hinted in interviews that being the favorite made him less of a galvanizing underdog. Allen, on the other hand, became like a vote for the everyman. As a result, Lambert received praise for his brilliant performance, but he did not receive the same groundswell of support that occurs when someone is considered to be the people's underdog. 5. The timing of cultural events. What the United States of America was prepared for. The narrative of Lambert crosses paths with a more significant cultural moment. The mainstream American culture was still struggling to come to terms with the presence of openly gay artists on primetime competition shows in 2009. Despite the fact that he was talented enough to compete solely on talent, he was also very different from other people. Furthermore, this distinction may have influenced the behavior of voters in ways that were either covert or overt. It was pointed out by analysts that his appearance, style, identity, and performance choices posed a challenge to the formula that had been used to predict winners in the past. Furthermore, the larger demographic dynamics of American Idol voting, which are predominantly female and frequently driven by teenagers and preteens, worked against Lambert's brand of rock glitz. An argument was made in the article that the tween girl vote was a significant contributor to Allen's victory. Eventually, Lambert came to terms with the fact that some of the votes he lost were not due to his lack of quality, but rather to the fact that he was not as aligned with the values that a significant number of voters were prepared to accept. Over the course of time, he has incorporated that acceptance into a more general message about being his reputation as an artist who refused to make concessions. Lambert has established a career that is unrivaled by the competition in the years that have passed since the 8th season of the show. She has performed as a headlining act with Queen, released albums that charted impressively, and established herself as a figurehead for queer artistry in mainstream music. In his retrospective interviews, Lambert does not say things like, "If I had won, I would be here." Instead, he says things like, "Because I didn't win, I was free to define myself on my own terms." The fact that he finished in second place relieved him of the immediate pressure to do well and win the competition. It gave him the opportunity to try new things, to flourish, and to be courageous. it is now common for him to refer to his defeat on American Idol not as a failure, but rather as a turning point. This is the moment when he realized that what he brought to the world of music was one of a kind, and that it would have a profound impact on the right audience. 7. What Lambert considers to be the real reason for the event. I would like to return to the question posed in the title. What does Adam Lambert consider to be the true reason he was unsuccessful? His thoughts are summarized as follows. Homophobia and identity bias are two factors that he acknowledges as being included. He is willing to acknowledge that his manner of presentation and style may not have been in harmony with the comfort zone of the general audience at that particular time. According to him, the momentum of the pivoting vote may have been slowed down because of the expectations that were predetermined, being the favorite. He acknowledges that competitions such as American Idol reward broad appeal and mobilized voting blocs, and despite the fact that he possessed a powerful artistic voice, it is possible that he did not have the voter synergy that was necessary to win. He believes that he was able to lose on his own terms, which is to say that he was able to lose by being himself in a setting that rewarded safer choices. And he is content with that outcome because the person he became after he competed on American Idol was the person he had always envisioned himself to be. 8. Exploring the past, looking to the future, and what it means for artists. A more profound lesson can be learned from Lambert's story, which is applicable to both artists and competitors alike. Sometimes the win is not the trophy, but rather the authenticity that you maintain. He demonstrates that artistic ability does not necessarily coincide with the mechanics of competition. He brings to our attention the fact that talent is essential, but it is not sufficient. One must also take into account the intangible alignments of culture, timing, identity, and audience resonance. As an example for aspiring musicians who are interested in competing in reality music shows, Lambert demonstrates that losing does not necessarily mean not winning. What it can mean is that you should remain true to yourself, construct your own narrative, and connect with your audience in a way that speaks to the truth rather than just trends. With regard to the audience, his narrative encourages contemplation on the ways in which we vote, admire, and assign value. In doing so, it raises the question of whether or not we are rewarding radical artistry or safe familiarity when we cheer on different competitions. Should there be more opportunities for the two to make amends? 9. Concluding some thoughts. When the final chords of the 8th season of American Idol faded away, Adam Lambert was standing as the runner-up. On a different level, he might have gone on to become champion. In the years that have passed, however, he has developed into a supporter of something that is arguably more important, being oneself, completely and without apology. He lost the title, but in the process of losing it, he discovered who he was. While he was unable to win what many people considered to be the pinnacle of the competition, he was able to win what was actually the beginning of his legacy. It is Lambert's belief that the real reason he did not win was a multifaceted explanation, including identity, audience alignment, and the structure of the competition. However, none of these explanations diminished what he intended to accomplish. He simply came to his senses. He progressed over time. In addition, he continues to make use of his platform not only for the purpose of performing songs and shows, but also for the purpose of promoting visibility, authenticity, and change. At the end of the day, Adam Lambert's story serves as a reminder that sometimes what appears to be a setback is actually a detour, one that leads to the destination that you were intended to reach.